Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Friday Night Smackdown. I know it's kind of been a while. um, so Tyler's not obviously going to get this out of the way. Tyler's just going to have one of those days to chill. So it's just going to be me for the rest of the night and for this entirety of the show. But if you guys need, make sure you hit the likes button, hit that subscribe button, make sure you ring that notification bell. Um, yeah, so it's what Tyler been on the word of the I'll say this past week has been kind of threw everything off for a lot of it, or for me, Tyler's streaming schedule. Um, so yeah, so for those who are willing or want to know, for that matter. But regardless, though, hopefully this should be an interesting episode of SmackDown. Um, and obviously, yeah, and obviously Sunday, me and Tyler are gonna be doing AEW Revolution, which shocker is their first AEW stream what felt like in months, because obviously it stings. Last match of all time, so it's going to be interesting to watch come Sunday. So you guys don't want to miss that as well. Of course, fucking Fox. Oh my god. Okay, hang on a second, guys. I am having already technical problems before even the show fucking starts. Fucking lovely. Hold up, dude. I'm legitimately connected to the fucking internet. Like, what the fuck's going on? Okay. Hold up. Hang on a second, guys. I am already having technical problems and it's starting to piss me off. Alrighty, dude. What in the absolute? Ah, damn it. Stupid beard. No. Can I just watch this without no fucking problems? That would. Okay. There we go. So obviously a little. Well, we'll see. Well, we'll see. Obviously, WrestleMania being Philly, 36 days away. It'll be interesting though. And live in Glendale, Arizona. We'll see. And Friday Night SmackDown. And by the way, too, they're going to keep this going until when they go to USA down in October of this year. So, for those who are wondering. All right, we're kicking off with the tribal chief himself. So it should be interesting, though. I think we're definitely going to get Logan and Randy at some point. I mean, typically, you got the bloodline behind Roman. And what's kind of crazy, too, and I think I talked about this last week or the week before. Um, I don't think I touched on it, but Solo, what has he really done for, I want to ask you guys this. What has Solo done recently that's honestly, Solo for me, I mean, so far has been kind of very been disappointing on the main roster. Trying to make him try to, and granted, I like the fact that he's paying homage to his uncle, but he's got to be his own man for that matter. I'm not going to nitpick at that, but ever since when Solo beat Cena at, I think, Crown Jewel, I think it was, Solo just kind of really kind of went MIA, kind of just disappeared. Went 0 and so far, lost 23 matches, I think, post that. And I think a lot of wrestling fans probably know, like, even being Cena nowadays, it doesn't do nothing for you. It really doesn't. And case in point with Solo, he hasn't really shown to really recover from that. Um, the dude just kind of fell flat. It makes you really wonder, like, what's next for Solo. So it'll be interesting though. Corey, not really. Bloodline hasn't already done diddly squat, especially in terms of you've got looking at a guy like Solo. Um, I don't know, but maybe that's just me. So all I'm just hoping for is just seeing Roman just lose the damn belt and be done with it. Plain and simple. Lordy. So it should be. I'm just cannot wait to when they get off of Fox, because Fox, whatever their feed is the problem. They always have the crappy feed sometimes, but looks like they a little bit of censoring right. Yes, crowd went with some expletives. Glad so acknowledge me. Yada yada yada. We all know how this goes each and every week with Roman. Had to get to. No, not really. Good crowd on hand for Glendale. Soda. Okay. Try to go over 3 times. Get Oh, I gotta love the great Glendor Crouches. Know how to get under Roman's skin a little bit. Ooh. Let's just see what Paul Heyman has to say. Try to. Yeah, that's sure. The Rock's supposed to make an appearance late tonight. And of course, a quick commercial break. So that's kind of that really very anticlimactic. But then again, who cares? But hey, so be interesting though. But overall, and that's another thing too. I think me and Tyler are going to be talking about as well because, well, I don't think we're going to be talking too much on a lot of things. We're going to go over the chamber a little bit. Not in like a full in depth. Um, we we're going to touch on some things with the elimination chamber, kind of give our thoughts, do a little recap and whatnot. Like I said, not really going to take up too much time on that because let's be real, that was a long ass show. First of all, like the pre-show shouldn't have gone as long as it did, quite honestly, in my honest opinion. And but yeah. Another thing too that really kind of rubs me the wrong way is Maxine doing her hardest to show the fans like she's trying to wrestle, but yet gets booed, and then you had a one fan yell "You suck" at her. It's really funny how some of these fans, and granted, you know, you're gonna get, and trust me, me and my buddies are, we know people who order the business, and those who are and knew that better than anybody, that it's part of the business, sure. But the fact that, that she's trying, try to put on some okay matches. Hey, yes, they're part of squash matches. That's one thing. But the fact that say you suck, I know that doesn't really going to bother people, especially if you have a thick skin, quite honestly. But in the case of Maxine, though, I will say this too. I think she needs more time because for me, I kind of did feel like she did get rushed up to the main roster, and that's another problem that I have with this company at times too. They have a tendency to rush main roster call ups, whether it, and, and granted, yes, that was under Vince, and so they can just fuck with them. But now we're kind of seeing, someone like a Tiffany Stratton, showing that, she can connect on the main roster. Braun Breaker is another one. They're taking their time with it. And who knows? Carmelo Hayes will be the next guy coming up to the main roster. Um, which hopefully will be at some point, or probably I would say hopefully either at the end of this year or probably next year if they're thinking it was ready. And I think another guy I think no one really talks about that deserves a main roster call, and that's Ilya Dragunov. For me, I think he's at this point where I think he's ready to show the main roster what he's capable of. Because for those who not seen his matches, not just from NXT UK, even on NXT, the dude has really shown to really hang with the best. I mean, him and Gunther, I would not be supposed if they rehash that rivalry back up on the main roster. But if they do put him on Raw, and The Rock still kind of paying a little homage to his Attitude Era type of self. Honestly, with The Rock, honestly, should be interesting. Should be it. But yeah. Okay. Fox fiction. So let's see what The Rock has to say on this matter. Damn. The Rock. Yeah, we still get a little bit of the Hollywood Rock too. I'm sorry, like Fox, what the fuck are you doing? What is going on with your fucking production? Uh, oh, damn. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna get this. Hmm. Then again, I wouldn't know. Okay, Fox. I don't know what the hell is going on with the Fox's broadcast. Zona. What in the absolute? Oh, dude, it's gonna be fucking hard to get through this goddamn this first parting segment of this fucking broadcast keeps blacking it out. Yeah, and here's another thing too. And look, I know we can boo the old rock, but the fact that we're near the fact that we're seeing professional wrestling, even WWE by WWE standards, which is kind of crazy too. It's like it's always sports entertainment this, sports entertainment that. Well, crack. Okay, that's a good one. Crack them with popcorn. Okay. Well, and obviously the Rocky chant. Oh, here we go with this fucking fuck. And I want to actually talk to him on this too while he's actually doing the promo. I think Larry cannot wait when the Fox when I'm sorry when SmackDown goes to the USA Network because I don't know what the Fox hell is Fox is doing. With a great one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We all know how this Rock. We know this for years. Give me 1 second. Hey, yo. Yeah. Well, let's see. What's the counter offer? A clown emoji, huh? I would honestly. Here's the thing: I don't want this tag team match to happen because it is unnecessary. No, that sounds like a bunch of bullshit waiting to happen, in my honest opinion. So, what's the putt there, Rock? Oh yeah, where have we seen that before? What? Nobody cares for. And honestly, the thing, like I said, was oh, it's very funny. At the same time, the dude's been on let's be real, on the hardest downward spiral in obviously in the stretch in a very long time. Because like I was saying, look, I'm bringing my point earlier. Nowadays, when you beat John Cena in an actual wrestling match, it doesn't really fucking help you. And obviously, case in point with Solo. And look, don't get me wrong, Solo's still over, but it's just something has to change with Solo because I don't know. Now that's I can get behind that to an extent with Seth from The Rock, though. I mean, he does kind of look like a clown emoji to an extent. Yeah, that's true. And I got Triple H chance among the crowd. Now it's kind of funny because I've heard it say, like, can we actually see this match happen? But on paper, yeah. In terms of the execution, not so much because number one, Triple H already had a fucking heart scare, and what's The Rock going to look like since he hasn't really wrestled in, well, God knows how long, almost in a decade, give or take. Oh, mm, interesting. I'm sorry, the Roman kind of stopping The Rock, and Paul Heyman's face looks, his reaction is a bit surprising. Oh boy, that's very intriguing. I'm sorry, but so Roman says, "I need something from you." And another thing too, and I know I might be in the minority on this one. Can we get rid of the fucking one chance? Look, I appreciate Stone Cold bringing that almost over 20. Oh, pretty much tell the Rock. Okay, that's so Roman tells the Rock to acknowledge him. Okay, that's a bit of a. Oh, the Rock looks. Okay. Mm. And obviously, a little handshake going after the Rock acknowledged Roman Reigns as the tribal chief, even though in reality, that's actual. Well, I wouldn't say that somewhat of a legitimate title does belong to the Rock because he is the actual high chief of his act of the blood or the NOI family. Now we're getting you sold out chance. Honestly, another chant that's kind of really overstayed its welcome. Go home and smoke some more crack. Smoke some more crack from the rock. We're gonna go with the little Hollywood rock action. A little is cooking. Okay. So interesting first segment for SmackDown. Minus a lot of the people, which now come to find out, um, somehow don't want to behave themselves and kind of flipping them off. Knowing obviously it's PG television. Yeah, that's true. We'll see. And Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, but I ain't digging Austin Theory's shirt just because he's kind of rocking the retro SmackDown logo from 1999, and now you got LA Knight with a steel chair in his hand, for not for a quick brief appearance, but that's besides the point. And now that we're going over about the Randy Orton's RKO and talking about Randy Orton in the background. Hey. Oh, gotta love Randy. Gotta love Randy. Mm. Okay, so it looks like we're gonna get Austin Theory and Randy Orton. Okay, that's not too bad. So that should be in. So far, decent start. I would say to SmackDown. Obviously, a little commercial break though. But the thing is, too, John L. Tyler is feeling better. He's been much better as the last couple of days, but obviously the motivation isn't there. And trust me, take it from me, for someone who's dealt with bronchitis over fucking 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks at that. Once you kind of get over being sick, like the motivation isn't there. And yeah, I mean, Tyler is going to be back late, starting next week. I would like to say, I'll always, I think each and every week, I think usually Saturday or Sunday, I will post a weekly streaming schedule, so you guys will see um what we got for the week. Another thing too, I want to point this out too, because I made a community post about this. I think yesterday. I could be wrong. Me and Tyler decided to come to an agreement, which we look. Me and Tyler, we're the kind of the ones people we hate. Well, and Tyler's actually watching the show itself, but he doesn't want to, come on and stuff like that. So I respect him for that. But like I was saying before I got off track, so me and Tyler, as of yesterday, when I put the community post out, that we officially scrapped our TNA watch parties because when you, for me, when I looked at the last two episodes, posts, I would say the first TV taping I thought actually was good. Hard to Kill was a great pay per view, but besides that, the last couple of episodes felt flat, and I know, and I don't want to bash on TNA, I really don't. But the problem that I have with TNA is Anthem, and they're on the honestly not in the process of killing the company. But when you really look at what this company could be, Yuri took out the man who actually had a vision for it, and Scott D'Amore. And Anthem's going to be and I pointed this out to him on social media, and I let my thoughts known about it. Anthem's going to be the reason why that TNA is not going to grow as a company, which sucks. I like what the roster has to offer, but just not having a guy like Scott D'Amore, implementing the vision that he wants for a dude who's been there for over 20 years. I'm sorry, but Anthem needs to get their heads out of their asses and have and wake the fuck up, basically. And I know I hate dropping the F-bomb. Well, because that's for me, for someone who's lived in and obviously here on the East Coast, especially in the South Jersey, Philadelphia area, that's kind of what we do. It's we do have a tendency to swear like sailors, which it's the kind of not it's like a hidden trait, I guess you could say. But it was a bit of a. Here's the thing: it was not a hard decision. Well, we kind of felt like after the first TV taping that we did, the energy and the vibe just was not there, which is really weird because, like I said, the roster have no issues, both the men's and the women's division. But after that first TV taping that they did after Hard to Kill under the new TNA moniker, just never felt the same. And I've been thinking about it too. And Tyler was part of this process as well, because we decided it's like, TNA was not going to, because I know a lot of people want to see TNA, but the problem is, Anthem is one thing. You already fire Scott D'Amore, which is another problem. A third problem, for that matter, you have, we are going to do Sting's last match at Revolution, but the problem with AEW, John, I don't know if we talked about it. I think we did harp on it a little bit here and there. The reason why we haven't done AEW in what felt like, I guess, 5 or 6 months, give or take, is the creative direction and the booking that this company's done. We already scrapped AEW, which it really took us out of it. Oh, nice little spinning back elbow from Naomi. Interesting ring color. Okay, Naomi's just showing off with her. Even Tiffany Stratton doesn't really look impressed. But besides that, I'm with you, Damian, because like I said, I put that on Twitter. Like, first of all, this whatever the Rock is offering or counter offering, I guess you could say, doesn't make any fucking sense. Now, could you do this? Would it make sense if you could do this on a random Raw or SmackDown before Mania? Sure. Why the hell not? Go for it. But you got to keep it as it lies with Cody and Roman, Seth, and Drew. Now, I've wanted to make a video about this, but I think I've harped on it. I think I harped on Drew like so many times. But me and Tara said this. If Drew does not take the belt off of Seth, I think he's gone. There's no way in hell, that Drew, for one, was one of the catalysts to carry this company through the pandemic era. Also, at the time, got fucking, treated like absolute dirt after that. And, nice little face buster by Naomi. Cover. 1, 2, and no. So, the thing is, too, Damian, for those who remember the Attitude Era, I'll give you a little something right there. And the first thing that we saw with The Rock, The Rock was kind of paying. For those who have not seen The Rock in the Attitude Era, that's kind of the shirts you would see him wear almost on a weekly basis. Because, and sorry, John, I'll get to your comment in just a second, but I want to kind of address Damien's comment, really. That's the thing. The thing is, too, Damien, there was reports that there were no clear. So we had updates that Drew never resigned. So that tells me, A, if, like I said, if he does, like I said, throw the fucking Drew at this point. Because Drew has done much better work, I would say, than most of that roster. Well, there's a good portion of that roster. And the dude knows how to put on good matches on a consistent basis, has put on instead of the matches, though, let's like obviously are like 5-star match quality type triple threat. I'll name a couple off. You know, him and Roman at Clash of, what was it? No, who am I thinking of? Wait a minute. Oh yeah, that's right. The triple threat match is one of them for the IC belt, which was fantastic. Did he do Roman? I don't think he did. I'm drawing blank right now. Besides that, because like I said, I always had my issues with how Drew's been used, and trust me, I'm not the only one. See, and that's the thing too, John. I really have not seen, and that should tell you, means I've been out of AEW for a while. Because the thing is too, you can tell after 2019 with the direction they were heading, it was not going to have that same feeling. But the Dreams were doing well. We had no issues with it. And at the time, we didn't really think too much of it. But seeing the last year and a half, I would say, since I think 2021 or 2022, give or take, you can see just that shade of 2019 or whatever the fuck they had going on with them. You know, it was just gone. And it really fucking pains me because me and Tart, we hate scrapping shit. And TNA is one that's, like I said, it has the show itself, the rosters or the talent that they have. There's no problem with that. The only problems I have with seeing TNA going forward, especially towards the future, number one, you got Anthem, who still owns the company, which already fucked up by firing Scott D'Amore, and we're kind of seeing the last couple of episodes, and obviously the ratings too. Roy's show really reflect that. Number two, you're on a channel that most of the fucking households don't even fucking have, and that's Access TV, which is should be only a fucking music channel to begin with. Number three, it's just you have the president who seems wants to have like a quick, complete power struggle. And knowing that the fact that you had Scott D'Amore, who, like I said, I'll rant and rave to Scott D'Amore's defense because let's put the dude know what the hell he's doing. And after the first nice little springboard, a little showing that gymnastics background, snapmare takedown. It's Tiffany time and a double stomp right to the solar plexus. Covered by Tiffany. 1, 2, and no. But because that's the thing too, yeah. But I will say this too. Because look, I tend to be very hypocritical. Not say hypocritical, but I'm been very inconsistent of how I do things, especially in some of the stuff that I want to do here on the channel on my own. And that's basically with NXT because it's usually like there's one good episode for I would think say 2 good episodes, let's say 2 weeks per se. Oh, nice little leaping knee. Naomi and Spine Buster by Tiffany Strand. That's a very nice one. 1, 2, and no. And could have just really kind of gotten a deep cover there, but that's a little nitpick. But like I said, with NXT, I know a lot of people don't have necessarily never had their issues with NXT, And I think that's where I think that where the CW I hope does come into play and help brings new eyes and viewers to the NXT product. Learn about who these people are. Someone like a Carmelo Hayes, Ilya Dragunov, and that's another thing too. Like, if you don't know who these, let's just say who these people are, you got Peacock. Like, really, oh, nice little face buster. I'm sorry, Tiffany goes face first right into the top turnbuckle. See, like I said, I didn't really watch that, so. And that's going to you're going to blame that on the Young Bucks too, which, by the way, oh, and Naomi goes shoulder first right into the ring post. So, and Tiffany Stratton with the prettiest moonsault connects. 1, 2, 3. Tiffany Stratton so far making. So Tiffany Stratton really showing she can connect. And to answer that too, John L. Yeah, not just a better TV deal, but at the same time, have someone who actually knows how to run a company or a wrestling promotion and knows how to properly book it. Which Scott D'Amore knows how to properly book matches. He's been well known to put on some really good matches over the years. And yes, at times, he's been in some good storylines, and especially in the early to mid 2000s. When obviously with Team Canada, even though let's be real, kind of funny, just him figuratively got fired by Jim Cornette, disbanding Team Canada, that sort of thing. But I do think TNA does deserve, but would it be nice to get a better TV deal? Sure. But the problem is, I don't think a lot of people are going to know who most of that roster is on TNA, especially the only group I can see that knows pretty much everything is the diehard fan base of TNA Impact. Even the old school ones, for that matter. Who, and unfortunately, but like I said, another problem, like I said, that's Anthem. Anthem doesn't know what the fuck they're doing with this company. And I don't want to jinx anything for that matter. If TNA, say hypothetically, goes under, Anthem's got to be definitely to blame. That's for sure. Because you fired the wrong man who, same reason, had knew doesn't want to give the bigger budget to have let's real try to improve the show quality. What's going on, Steve? Oh, another thing too. I know this is kind of a side note. I kind of like how, and yeah, and also I want to point something out. Obviously, with John O with the wrench next to your name, I know that's kind of a side note. It's probably the most irrelevant thing, but I'm actually kind of glad to see streamer actually implementing, seeing like who's a mod and whatnot. So I'm kind of happy with that. So that's besides that. Now, kind of go back to what I said earlier. TNA would be okay with the TV deal, but the problem is the last few episodes I've seen and look at the ratings, it has not been good in terms of the ratings. Now, I know the ratings don't really mean everything depending on the show quality. And the thing with Scott D'Amore being fired because he asked Anthem for a bigger budget to help improve the show quality and actually get better production for that matter, which, by the way, would have been a good idea had Anthem actually get their heads out of their asses. Oh, and trust me, this is not going to be the only time you're going to. I will continue to bash Anthem as much as I can because Anthem does not deserve to own TNA. I don't would whatever offer or Scott D'Amore was offering, I would have just given TNA straight up for whatever price he was asking for, and let him run it as how he sees fit. And it kind of sucks because I like what I like the roster, like I said, but just And it's kind of funny. I know I'm going to point this out. The last few episodes that I've watched of TNA, I fell asleep like a third of the way through the show. Not because, yeah, part of it because, I've ended up getting them up in the mornings and I never really got a chance to catch up on some sleep. So, and at the same time, I fall asleep a little bit too easily. Depending on, not to say too easily on certain things like WWE product, I'm hardly ever. Well, the only thing I almost fell asleep on is a couple of Raw streams because let's be real, that third hour really kind of mentally checks you out. But I will say the last few Raws that has not been that bad, which is kind of crazy to say because even though the third hour always been the biggest, let's be the biggest criticism of Monday Night Raw. Um, but at the same point, would have been nice to see Raw be 2 hours, sure. But if look, if they're going to keep 3 hours, you got to learn how to book that third hour. At least keep people interested. Because yes, and I know we've seen this in the past. Obviously, wouldn't. Oh, don't get me wrong. I can agree to that to an extent because, and that's the thing too. If you're gonna have, I think Scott D'Amore and Jim Cornette could have done some one. If Scott D'Amore never got fired, I think Jim Cornette could have done some wonders with TNA, and I'm pretty sure that's what he did. I think in 2004, 2005, give or take, and like at the peak years of TNA, in the mid 2000s, Jim Cornette has done some fantastic work as that. Because that's my thing. It's like you need actual capable individuals that know how to book it, know what direction you want to go in, depending on not just the direction of the company, but also storyline directions, that sort of thing. Character progression, that whatever, what have you. But but look, maybe I just have a different outlook on a lot of things. Look, and that's the thing too. And that's why I love pro wrestling as a whole, because it's very subjective, different opinionated, and stuff like that. Unless you don't get too fucking stupid, which we see how that really played out. But that's besides the point. We're getting on right now. Damage control the Kabuki Warriors. Obviously, this is a match that, for some reason, I just don't feel with this one. I really don't. But we'll see. If this actually turns out to be a good match, then I'll take back what I said. But for right now, I still stand on the. So already a double team beatdown on Bailey by the Kabuki Warriors. Some nice little tag team action. See, showing Io Sky. For the love of God, can we start? Yeah, yeah, I get that. But the last few roles, there was potential you could see to book at that third hour. You just got to know, and I know a lot of things like people, and trust me too. I was one of those few people, or majority of the people, for those who grew up to the Attitude Era, remember that Raw was 2 hours. Both Raw and SmackDown were 2 hours. Well, and yeah, and Raw at that point in time as a 2-year-old was from 9 to 11, on a weekly basis. Now, and I've always said you can also get a lot of stuff, and that's why I think shows like SmackDown, which I know at times been like, and I've always said hit or miss. Hold on, I need to take a drink. Which is not a bad thing. I'm going to make that very clear. I believe you can get a lot of stuff done in 2 hours if it's all done properly, which we have seen. Well, I can't say for AEW, but that's what's that. Oh, and Dakota goes flying off the apron. So now we actually got Bailey. Let's go, Bailey. She's another, and that's and like I will say this too. I think it's time to take the belt off of Io. And look, and I love Io Sky. Don't get me wrong, even especially during as Io Shirai down to the NXT Black and Gold era. But as a champ, her booking has not been that impressive. And for me, it just felt like stale as a bag of potato chips. I know I'm making a freaking food reference, but you got to take that with a grain of salt. Or actually, no, scratch that. But that's just all I think of retirement is a bag of stale potato chips. It just loses its flavor over time. And I just, oh, nice little counter. Bailey, oh, tosses Kyrie right into the second rope. And nice up and over on the forearm to Asuka. Now a kick to the side of the head from Bailey. Oh, and into a second rope stunner. Kind of gets to that separation. Okay. Interesting little combination. Huh. So, and Bailey can try to look for a tag. And that's another thing, too. I want to point this. I want to say this. Oh. Okay. I see. So Dakota Kai. Okay. So all the things that so basically it's almost a handicap match in a sense. So Dakota Kai turns on Bailey. Kind of feel like I want to double me and a meteor to the back. So that pretty much match got thrown out like like an old piece of pizza. Well, that sucked. But then again, it was kind of. But later on tonight, we also got Randy Orton and Austin Theory going at 1-on-1 here on SmackDown. But Braun Breaker making his way to the ring for it. Even though they say it's SmackDown debut, even though let's be it's not. This is his. I would say his. Then again, I could be wrong. That's including not including house shows. Um. And of course, with wing stuff, but like I said, Damon, I could agree to an extent with that, but yeah, I thought that was kind of more premature. Premature. I am sorry, almost. But yeah, But I think that could have been interesting for that matter. But well, oh well. But uh, yeah, we all knew that was going to happen. But you could at least just pull that to Mania. That I'm with the. But I thought that was a little bit premature. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how that really plays out going forward. Because I do want to see the Black Lotus in WWE. Because I was intrigued to see if they're ever going to pull the trigger on a Black Lotus faction. But I don't know. Well, we cut back after commercial on LA Knight still holding the damn chair. And obviously Jade Cargill kind of staring down. So let's see what Nick Aldis wants kind of some discussions with. So Braun, so okay, it's gonna be interesting to see Braun Breaker just. I feel bad for anybody who's gonna get in the ring with Braun Breaker for that. That's for sure. Zion Quinn, who? That's another thing too. Well, we're gonna have to wait and see. Like I said, I do hope so because the way how they're I know that's gonna, and I know that rubs fans a lot in the most wrong way possible of how WWE's treating her. Oh, nice little spear takedown. One, two, three. Okay, that was okay. I'm sorry, but that's not. I mean, look, I like Braun Breaker, but you could at least had that go a little bit longer, at least about a minute. I would say, but that's which is so damn stupid. So we're seeing a different, I would say, adaptation, I guess you could say, of the. Mm, but nah, man. Yeah, that was very pointless. Like I said, look, I have a soft spot for squash matches, but if you keep it entertaining, that's all I care about. The fact that we lasted 5 seconds, not even that. I think I'm sorry, but that was look. You could have done a lot better. Look, I think there's potential for Braun on the main roster. Do not get me wrong, but the way to do that, see, and that's the thing too. Like, if you're gonna do that, they have like a post match beatdown, kind of establish that dominance even more. But maybe that's just me. That's kind of how. So we have a Porter. What do we got? I'm sorry, but when it comes to these like street fights or whatever these or theme matches or whatever the case may be, but hey, that's I'll say, man. Well, that should tell you right then and there. But we got Raw coming to you live from San Antonio, Texas. This Monday night at 8. Obviously, you're gonna see me and Tyler back at it. Yeah, the good old boys coming back, or Tyler coming back. Um, we're at this point. Not say this point, but obviously this time of the year, it seems like everyone's getting sick, which is but hey, the way like I said, I don't think feels rushed because here's the thing. Let's say this was the go home show for Mania, and you can see matches getting speak through quickly. Then yeah, you can tell that show's rushed. But I, look, there's a lot of things, but I don't think it's rushed. But I think you can certainly make the argument for it. That's for sure. But my thing is, like I said, Braun has the utmost potential. Don't get it twisted. But I'm going to be intrigued of because I think like I said, well, obviously finally getting this main roster call up, which, good lord, after was it 2 or 3 years down in NXT, we've been well ready for that matter. Besides the point, I'm s- I'm going to be intrigued to see what the future, and see like what are the future plans with him? Because my thing was my only gripe, it's a small little gripe, was what are you going to do with him on the main roster? What's going on, RC? Um, and obviously as well, obviously we lost. And obviously, the wrestling world has lost another good one in Michael Jones. But I'm sorry, but for me, it's still Kenny Cart. God damn, I really I'm still never gonna like Carlito's current theme at the moment. It does not sit well with me. Like if you're gonna have a guy, he's basically known, but but we'll see. Yeah, and Virgil unfortunately succumbed to which sucks, man. You really don't. I, and that's the thing too. The wrestling world has lost some really good ones. I would say the last year and a half or so. Um, for me, it really stinks. But well, like I said, look, rest in peace to Virgil. Obviously, I think post WWE, I think after he left, really couldn't find that success elsewhere. And unfortunately, I mean, we heard stories about his drug problem. He had drug problems, um, which, but already Carlito already going to the end of the ring, though. Yeah, dude. Like I said, I've read a lot on Virgil. Dude suffered multiple strokes. I think he getting on with through dementia. And like I said, he also had, kind of got over his drug problems, which that you really don't like to see that. And you know what? You don't want to wish that on your own worst enemy. I will tell you that much. But you know, I will say this too, though. He actually how is Just Cause 4? Because I never really got into it. Well, I mean, up besides 3. But I would say this too, John L. I don't know if you saw this. A relevant side note for anybody who's played the original Star Wars Battlefront or Battlefront 2. Bailey needs somebody at WrestleMania. I think there is a possibility if you want to go down that road. But the question the problem that it presents itself, like who is going to be associated with Bailey? Obviously now with Bailey being a face the way that she is. For me, I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see how that really plays out. Um, but at the same point, it's like I, I don't know. Like I don't know what else you could think of. No, I do think there's a possibility you can go down that road. But as I said, or as I stated before, like that's going to present as a problem because you already had Dakota Kai probably the most anticlimactic heel turn for whatever fucking reason. That's my only nitpick with that. But I'm saying the fact that who's going to be associated with Bailey? Like who's going to really be in her corner come WrestleMania? Knowing that with EO probably going to have Dakota Kai and the rest of Damage Control probably at ringside, and she's going to have to really match that. Um, in that, but I do think there's a possibility. possibility. But like I said, going back to my relevant side point, for those who have not, and John, not to really, I don't know if you saw this. Naomi could be an option, but has she? I don't think she ever has. Not that God, I am really drawing a blank on that one. I think the Naomi's one, but I don't know not if my memory. I can't remember if she even worked with Bailey. But then again, I think she probably could. She probably has, but I'm probably not remembering it. um, okay, but like I was saying too, John L, and especially to those who remember playing the old G Battlefront and Battlefront 2 from Star Wars, you're gonna see a lot of that. I posted on the community tab that you're gonna see a lot of the OG Battlefront 2. That's all the game modes included. So you're gonna see a lot of that. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. Because obviously the classic collection for the original Battlefront and Battlefront 2 are getting released in 2 weeks. Well, actually, hold up. Yeah, in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And and it's also for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, the Xbox, and also the Nintendo Switch. So I'm actually kind of happy now. that well, maybe I just have but like I said, I have a different way of thinking, but sometimes I have a hard time remembering crap. But we're back now with Carlito with a trash can over his head. And oh, guys, double knee by Santos. 1, 2, and no. So a little quick 2 count. And Santos with an overall rating of. Oh, sorry. Look, I like this. I, that that's a good point. But at the same point, I don't mind the wait to a little bit because if you rush it, if you take the one wrong step and rush it's going to come down crashing like a house of cards. And I do think Tiffany Stratton is definitely going to get is going to have a rocket strapped to her back, all even get pushed up to the moon. Don't get that twisted. But I think you got to get this process going with her. And the biggest test is like, can she really connect on the main roster? And obviously, it showed Shinsuke made a main roster debut, and you can even get the Elimination Chamber. During the men's, had chanting her name. What else you only need to know? And also, she has the look for to be a women's world champion, or going after, depending on who's going to be the champion on SmackDown in the women's division. That's besides the point. And obviously, geez, kind of really weird seeing Carlito wrestle nowadays. Even though I still want his old theme back, but I don't think that's going to. Oh, God, nice twisting neckbreaker right on the chair. That's a interesting cover by Carlito. 1, 2, and no. Kick out of 2 by Santos Escobar. Well, and NXT Roadblock Live this Tuesday, 8/7 Central on USA. Oh, God. Do I want to stream that? For some reason, I have an itch to stream it, but the problem is I'm very inconsistent of how I do things with NXT. But and now I got a table chance among the Glendale crowd. I don't know. I never would understand wrestling fans and table spots. Oh, nice leaping knee by Santos. I would like to say that's the one thing too. I've been a wrestling fan for well over for majority of my life, and I still would never understand like wrestling fans and table spots. Oh, nice step of Vincent Gurry right in the corner. Now on the top rope, goes Santos now climbing up top. Looks like we're gonna go for an avalanche Hurricane Rana. What do we got going here? And Santos, oh, it gets caught. Oh, right on the family jewels. You really hate to see that. And here comes the rest of with Humberto Hey, and it's all legal. And knowing Carlito, I'm pretty sure this is, and he's going to have the rest. Nice little, oh, nice into a triple power bomb. Cover one, two, no, just a two out of Carlito. And that's really, well, that's going to really set. I saw that. And me and Tyler talked that on his Twitter account as well. Also, by the way, go follow Tyler on Twitter. His Twitter account is linked in the link tree down below. But here comes the rest. You got Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wild now throwing some haymakers on Carrillo. I'm sorry, Humberto and Angel Garza. Oh, right into the ring post goes both Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wild. Yeah, I've seen it. And that kind of rubs me the wrong way a little bit. Oh, and here comes Rey Mysterio. Obviously, still kind of suffering the after effects of getting his knee smashed in. I think what about a few months ago by Santos Escobar. Oh, kind of a little bit of a fake out. And it looks like for some reason, we're going to get. If we look, I would have no issues with getting Santos and Ray one on one. Okay, I want to nitpick a little bit something here. I am not digging that mask from Ray. I'm sorry, but that's the one thing I'm not digging. Ray's mask, I would say for me, just I don't know. I'm not feeling that whoever his mask he's wearing tonight. It looks like just so bulky. And Carlito with the apple and backstabber. Good old Vincent. And I was going to dial up the San Diego area code 6. Well, before the rest of the LD Legado del Fantasma get taken out by Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wild. And dialed up the San Diego zip code 619. And spine buster right through the table. Covered by Carlito. 1, 2, 3. Carlito picks up the win over Santos Escobar. I actually really like that match, quite honestly. And I have a feeling, I feel like this is going to be far from over. Now let's say we're getting for main event time. Randy Orton and Austin Theory up next on Friday Night SmackDown. But I mean, that's just me. Now, John, I don't know if you're still in here. I want to ask you this: have you seen the Netflix? And I'm actually going to rant this a little bit too. I know this is going to be a relevant side note. I really hate the fact, Exactly. Like you gotta look. I'm going. I talked about the two. Maxine's giving it her all, and I know, like we are very look. Even the good wrestling fans. Yeah, well, like I said, that I think the heel turn with Dakota Kai, I didn't mind, but to pull the way that it did, it's like we've seen that shtick one too many fucking times over the last God, over my 20, soon to be 25 years of existence. Even though technically I'll be 27 at the end of the month because I didn't start watching I was two since I was two. So it's the same shtick, fake out on the ring, heel turn, that sort of thing. Like we all knew what's going to happen, but for me, it was so fucking anticlimactic. It's like you could have done that at Mania. Like, think of it this way: it's one on one, Bailey and Io. Yeah, Dakota Kai in the corner, and whoever else that Io has as well. The way, if I wanted to do that at Mania, is hold up, I'm having a brain fart now. God damn it. Got it. Brain fart at the worst possible time, but John L, I want to ask you this: have you seen the Netflix's live adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender? Because I've seen a lot of fucking idiots. Like I said, this is going to be another irrelevant side note. Like somehow hate this adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender, but I enjoyed it. I binge watched 8 whole fucking episodes of it. But maybe that's just me. But I enjoyed it though. But oh yeah, she's definitely should be taking the belt off of Io because, like I said, and I said this before, and I'll say this again. I like Io. I think she's a phenomenal competitor, but her way how that company booked her as the women's champion on SmackDown was so fucking stale as a bag of potato chips. Now, I will say SmackDown does have a lot more better competitors than Raw, in my honest opinion, because SmackDown, and I've always said SmackDown always had the better women's division over the years. And at times Raw has put on some better women's matches at times, but Raw their women's division feels really weak. I know a lot of people will hate how Rhea's the only one that's probably going to hold that title for a while because that's really out besides other Becky, which like I've talked about before. Like the hate for her is so fucking corny. It's not even. I really, like I said, I enjoy what they were doing with it. Now, yeah, I will nitpick some of the changes, but I kind of like some of the subtle changes to it a little bit because it's like, oh, they're going to give it a different, expand on what we didn't see in the original show or the original cartoon, I would say. Um, I thought Daniel Day Kim fucking phenomenal as Ozai. And yes, trust me, I will say this too. It's a good show. I know that a lot of people hate it for some reason. It's a mixed bag of onions. I would say between episode 3 and 4, I'm going to let anybody know who has or is going to watch it. Make sure you grab a box of tissue, especially I think towards episode 4. I'm not going to spoil it, but that show will go give you, will break you at times, and yeah. So we cut back. So Nick Aldis is now kind of hearing the disturbance. Now I'm going to check it out. Obviously, with Elaine still holding the chair in hand. Oh. Oh boy. I know that. Right. Okay. So the different of aggressive side from LA Knight. I dig it. There's so I got Kevin Owens making his way out. So Kevin Owens is going to be on commentary for the main event. So one match to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank. Honestly, for me, eh. But coming up next, Austin Theory and Randy Orton going at a one-on-one here on SmackDown. Good God. Ah. I mean, look, two each throw for their opinion on the different adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender. For me, it's like a lot of people ask way too fucking much. Like say, oh, like I want this show to be like a one-on-one, like one for one replica. Nah, I mean, look, the show itself should never be fucking touched in its own right. And let's be, I'll say this too, and this might be on a popular opinion. I actually enjoyed Legend of Korra for that matter. Um, but you see, and granted, yes, I will say I do have slight criticisms with it, but it's not to the point where I didn't really enjoy it. I will say where it kind of felt out of place was episode 3. So I remember in the original show, we didn't see Boomy and Omashu later in the show, which kind of never made sense. But that's besides the point. Maybe that's just me, but I enjoy it for what it. But like I said, I enjoy it for what it was. And do I hope I get to see season 2? Oh, absolutely, because a couple of the characters I want to see get introduced, definitely Toph, because I think at the point, yeah, well, that's the thing too. Like, if you're going to do it that way, consider the fact that you're going to have not just EO, we got Dakota Kai and the rest of Damage Control, and obviously with just the Kabuki Warriors, or they're gonna have something to say about it. And like I said earlier, I think Bailey is going to need some reinforcements. Now the question is, who's that going to be? I don't know, because I just don't. How do I explain this? Because I think Bailey needed someone that has not just familiarity with her, but also with most of the women, especially from Damage Control for that matter. And I don't know if Naomi could be one, because, like I said, I don't remember if she ever worked, especially from Naomi's side of things, if she worked with Bailey or anybody for that matter, with like the Kabuki Warriors, or even no, because I don't think EO was on the main roster at the time when and Naomi's first go around. But like I said, we'll see come Mania, that's for sure. But we're here still at the main before we get to the actual main event here tonight. It's going to be interesting, and I'm intrigued to see what this road to the especially with the road to the WrestleMania, as well. But like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how. I don't know. It's really weird. I don't know how to explain it, but we'll see. Like I said, we'll see come. Well, let's see tomorrow on Tuesday. Like I said, may or may not stream it, depending on how I feel. But I might. And I know that's crazy enough for me to say, but like I said, I'm very inconsistent with NXT. But so Austin Theory making me the first competitor, making his way out to the ring, accompanied by Grayson Waller, and obviously Austin Theory, a two-time champ, which is obviously the United States Championship. Honestly, not the best runs he's had, in my honest opinion, and that's another belt I feel like that has become a super fucking afterthought in terms of when it comes to the mid card belts over the years that I remember. Because if you're going to have a belt like the United States Championship, which, good lord, hasn't really had the best history. I mean, in my honest opinion, I mean, JBL, I would say, well, the one thing I will give JBL a lot of credit for it was trashing that spinner bullshit that Cena brought out. And she never changed straight away from the original design for that matter. But then again, you're going to have to change at some point. And the fact that what also rubbed me the wrong way, that it was also confirmed that you had the European Championship already in the works, ready to be debuted, and decided to scrap it at the last minute, which was absolute bullshit. Which for me, I think the European Championship, and also the light heavyweight championship, that credit to Dean Malenko, who brought that idea forward. I would say in the late 90s, I would say between 99 and 2000, I would say, to give it a different look. And, which actually really benefited for a short period of time before that got defunct. I would say both just were very underrated mid-card belts, just never was properly utilized. And look, I had my criticisms with that's the thing too. And I just had a complete fucking brain fart. I don't know what I was going to say, but oh yeah, my only slight nitpick with the European Championship, from what I remember, is yeah. Look, I appreciate it was a mid card belt for one, but God, I was probably one of the few minority that thought it was only suited for the European wrestlers that were there. Someone like the British Bulldog, who, good lord, when you look at his time in 1999, was not really the best. You could tell his health was not the best, and also hasn't really been what it once was since like the early 90s. Him as a heel, just was very meh. Never really liked it. The theme was awful, and just has not been the same. Well, here's the thing. I know for a lot of older wrestlers who grew up in obviously the late 80s to almost early 90s, like I said, I can't really say much because I grew up in the Attitude Era. So I got to saw the latter half of the British Bulldog, which probably wasn't the easiest to see, in my honest opinion, and at the same point, and shout out to Goalie for this too, and some of the episodes that we've watched, me and Tyler have, and obviously the Unforgiven, which I kind of wish it took that time back because of that Kendall from Hell match. Pretty much really, really ruined the show for me. And just to see the fact that was Vince Russo's doing. And look, as a kid, never really paid attention to it, but when you go back, for those who do have Peacock, go back to see some of the matches and how most of 1990 was written. could definitely tell that was Vince Russo. For those who remember, and also too, same could be applied to WCW, especially the 2000, especially in 2000. And yeah, and also sat through the dying days of WCW, which I wish I didn't wish to do that, but me being a diehard wrestling fan, it was going to happen. So, oh well, we're gonna do. Damn it! Already bouncing the head off the announce table goes Austin Theory, and Kevin Owens just enjoying just seeing, and Grayson Waller just pulls out. Yeah, Grayson Waller, you do not want to get in the way of the and a good cheap shot by Austin Theory. Face first goes into the turnbuckle, goes Randy Orton, and back first right on the announce table. Obviously, Charles Robinson, your official in this tonight's main event, which, damn it. Obviously, what's crazy about it, too, and I want to point this out, with when Randy Orton came back from that back surgery, sometimes it really worries me of what kind of bumps would he be taking, because obviously, he had I think it was a back fusion, I think it was, that kept him out for over a year and a half. I could be wrong. But that kind of was one of my biggest worries with Randy Orton coming back. Obviously he's not the same guy as he used to be. Even though it's kind of crazy, he's been around for over 20 years. Good God. Besides that, but Randy Orton just, I don't know how much does he have left is my biggest question. For me, I say give it about at least 3 to 4 years if he doesn't get hurt, because I want to see, Randy's been injury prone, but I know he's dealt with some slight injuries over his career. But I just feel like this, I think, was probably the biggest one that I've seen that he's. Then again, I think he also had that one arm injury. I think he did, or he suffered, but I'm not kind of completely sure. But hey, it's. I'm actually kind of glad Randy's back, and it's kind of crazy too. And not. Here's the thing: it's not surprising that Randy's still at the top of his game. I think in his early 40s, give or take. And knowing that the age range is like late 30s, almost early 40s in WWE, not by today's standards. And yeah, you got a couple superstars like Braun Breaker or Tiffany Stratton in their soon to be in their mid 20s. It's kind of crazy that. I mean, the entire point of this out too. I think one stream that we did, we're older than Tiffany Stratton, which is kind of crazy. But I'm actually kind of glad she's actually finding some early main roster success, connecting with the fans, which I think that was kind of the biggest test for should be any from NXT call up. But the problem was when Vince was still, for all the bullshit and all the disgusting crap came out about him, Vince had always had this idea of just finding a way to fuck with them. What's going on, Chad? Appreciate you coming in. But my thing was, and that was one of my biggest worries going in. I would say other 2021 or 2022 or what have you before we get into 20, because we know that 2023 and so far here in 2024 have been crazy for the good, the bad, and just the downright ugly. But like I said, I'll talk more on that. Probably after this match. When Kevin Owens still on comment, kind of showing his disdain for Austin Theory. Oh, and Randy Orton catches Austin Theory with a right and another right. Kind of keeps him now stunned at the top, out on the top turnbuckle. Kevin Owens looks on, and obviously Randy Orton with the 91 overall rating. I think no one really cares for the 2K ratings anymore. But it was a real whoa, and somehow got it. Yeah, that was a bit ugly for my liking, but still effective move nonetheless. And obviously, yeah, like I said, well, yeah, because you're fucking sweating. You also got baby, and also wrestlers are lathered up with baby oil. Credit shout out to Maven Huffman, who nice little power slam. And Randy Orton's going to that place. And he's hearing voices in his head. And Theory gets sent out to the outside. As San Antonio, Texas, for 1 year has been sold out. Which, quite honestly, WWE and Dallas, Texas had been sold out as well for next week. March 11th in Houston, Texas, you got tickets still on sale. And also with Memphis, Tennessee. Nice little Uranagi on the table. Yeah, you know what? That would have been nice, but Edge wanted to do it. Wanted to go out on his own terms. And look, and I respect Edge for that. Don't get me wrong. Would have been nice to see RK Rated RKO once more. Absolutely, but Edge even said to himself, like, he wants to do his stuff on his own terms. He's not, and well, let's just say there. Well, true. I mean, you can tell, and me and Tara, we pointed this out too. We look at the real life scenario that, and once kind of, and me and Tara, we talked about this too when we did our chill streams before. Oh, and shoulder first into the turnbuckle. Again, not this time in the ring post goes Randy Orton. Roll through into another little blockbuster. 1, 2, and no. Probably the best opportunity for Austin Theory to pick up the win, but close but no cigar for Austin Theory. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I agree with Corey Grace on an extent. I'm going to go for the A-Town down. No. Randy Orton. Oh, throat chop. Now into a chop block. Oh, and a right hand just drops Randy Orton, who's also going to selling cover. 1, 2, and no. Just a 2 from Randy Orton. And going back to my point on with Solo, especially with Solo, when Austin Theory beat Cena, it did not do nothing for him. And I think that's kind of where Solo is right now in terms of in that limbo spot. No, and nice little hangman off the top from Austin Theory. Second roll through and into an RKO. Good night, Austin Theory. And Kevin Owens loves it. Covered by Orton. 1, 2, and 3. Randy Orton. Good. I gotta say, decent match. And now, I guess here comes KO, and KO's not having any of it. Now it's kicking the crap and just stomping a mud hole right into Grayson Waller. All right, I'm all for a post-match beatdown. Nice little back elbow. Into a stunner. And a nice little oversell. Curtis. And no. And RKO. And Grayson Waller really walked right into that one. And that. Nice little a little face off, and a fist bump between KO and Randy Orton. And that's kind of what that's kind of what Orton is. Well, not just for the RKO, but it also knows how to make it really good. He's going to here's a couple of examples with that. With Evan Bourne, when he tried to go for, I think it was a shooting star press. They just put him in, I think 2010 or 2011. I can't remember. Does anybody remember Evan Bourne trying to go for the shooting star press? I'm sorry, but that was some great timing by our Randy Orton. But that is how SmackDown goes off the air. I gotta say, man, pretty good episode of SmackDown. And me and Tara, we do this all the time. We give her, what do we get this out of 10? I get this as a bit slight 8.5 out of 10. Look, I still think SmackDown has been pretty good. And the fact that as we're still streaming, we're not even at the 2-hour mark and it's almost 10 o'clock, which is great. But besides that, I've liked what I've seen. Tiffany Stratton continues to impress on the main roster. I'm excited to see what they have for Jade Cargill going forward. You have Braun Breaker still establishing his dominance, even though probably in a crappy squash match. But then again, that's not really saying much. But then again, at the same point, who gives a fuck about Zion Quinn? And for those, you're probably asking, like, you should ask me. No, I don't know who the fuck that is. But that's just me. But besides that, I've really enjoyed SmackDown. I've always have. Me and Tyler always have, I would say. It's usually sometimes, before it was usually Raw, it was always the problem. The only show I would say WWE's when they put on has not been enjoyable. But Raw has been very enjoyable under Triple H. Now we're getting that same thing with SmackDown. Now, like I said, SmackDown at times has these occurrences where sometimes they can be hit or miss. But when we look in terms of ratings, that are somewhat consistent with it, over 2 million viewers per show that they do. But besides that, like I said, I think we're going to see, it's going to be interesting. We're going to see for next week and also for Raw. Now, before we get out of here, like I said, I will definitely put out a streaming schedule like I do every week. So you guys know what to look out for, what's on the schedule, because it's going to subject to change. I will say that much. So other stuff we got coming up as well. We obviously got the It's Running podcast tomorrow, 6:30 Eastern. I think 6 or 6:30 Eastern time. And obviously we're back at it again with the NBA with Lakers and Nuggets, 8:30 Eastern time. So you guys want to come around and hang out as well. But Sunday, we got nothing for Sunday. It's going to be our off day, chill day, pretty much. Well, you will see a couple gaming streams here and there. But I still got to put that on the schedule as well. But besides that, like I said, I will put out a streaming schedule weekly on a weekly basis. Like I do every Friday or Saturday. You'll see for the upcoming week. It's subject to change. So I might delete it and readjust some things. So it's not going to be it's not an official schedule, but I would say it is subject to change. That sort of thing. But if you guys need, make sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I am